Hello, good evening. Welcome to the fourth in our series of JN Bank Redesigning Your 2020 Goals Chats. I'm Kevin Clark, Digital and Social Media Manager at the JN Group. Joining me this evening are my good friends and colleagues, Tamik Hines, Senior Manager, Software Engineering, MC Systems Limited, and Frederick Pragnell, Head of Digital Banking with JN Bank. Welcome, Freddie and Tamik.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
On this episode, we'll be having a conversation about embracing some of the digital opportunities that have come about due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, although we have all long been touting that we live in a digital age, perhaps no event has been more catalytic in driving our adoption and adaptation of digital tools and spaces than COVID-19. So, for example, there has been expansive growth in video conferencing as companies, organizations, and even schools turn to online platforms such as Zoom for meetings and classes. Increased promotion and even forced adoption of online tools and digital technologies to do banking. And there has been an uptick in creative use of digital mediums by the entertainment industry to create a new virtual space for performing. So COVID-19 has truly brought us into the digital age and has brought with it opportunities that we can certainly capitalize on to move careers, businesses, and how we communicate with each other. So I want to start our conversation this evening with Tamik. There are some technologies that businesses now need to adopt and adapt to operate post-COVID. How easily accessible are these tools?
All right. Well, firstly, the goal would be to implement technologies that will allow businesses to continue to operate, right? You need your employees to continue to work seamlessly and for your customers to have access to your goods and services. That's your first aim. First thing to mind, e-commerce, a digital first model. COVID has forced a number of us to be paying online, and companies that suffer right now are those who don't have that capability. So one of the technologies I would first recommend is e-commerce, giving your customers the ability to pay for the goods and services online. You mentioned at the start of our conversation the use of video conferencing tools, a big thing, both not just the video conferencing, but also collaboration tools that will allow your employees and even the interaction between employees and customers to facilitate the sharing of information. There are a number of tools out there now that not just offer the video conferencing capabilities, but collaboration capabilities, sharing files, speaking to individuals, whether it's through text, and of course, yes, the video conferencing in terms of, and that's readily available over the internet. There are various tiers. Most start with a free tier, and not because it's free, it's not good, still secure, but it's free because they have a cap or a limit in terms of maybe the length of time for your video conferencing, the amount of persons that you can have concurrently on any given session, or the amount of data that you can actually pass. And then, of course, above that, you have packages for medium, small enterprise, or maybe a larger enterprise. So you do have packages available across all these collaboration tools, depending on your needs. So pricing is dependent on your needs. And I'll give you some examples. Slack, Microsoft Teams, those are very popular ones out there, and both start at least with a free tier. Microsoft will allow 300 persons within the free tier, right? So I would have mentioned e-commerce, collaboration, and video conferencing tools. Another step would be cloud adaptation. When this pandemic started, you had a number of persons going home to work. To access your employers or your organization's network, you would require a VPN, virtual private network. Most VPNs, they're not ready to have a full workforce at home connecting at the same time. Having your infrastructure in the cloud gives you the ability to have access to work wherever you are. And again, cloud has been here for a while. Persons have been adapting it, and I find that more persons are comfortable with that, moving to the cloud. You have the known clouds, two very popular ones, Microsoft and Amazon, AWS, but you also have persons who offer a private cloud. So let's say a group of companies or a cloud specific for certain industries, etc. So those things are available. Again, in terms of pricing, costing, it's based on your needs. So assessments will need to be done. What is it that you need? How much storage? Things like that. And that would determine the cost. And with all of that, of course, everybody is online now. Since COVID, it has been reported that cyber attacks have been increased fivefold, right? We're targets. So that leads to security. Essential, essential, essential. We need to be able to protect the data that is passed across all these digital channels. And again, it depends on your needs. So assessments are needed to determine cost. So those are some of the technologies that I think would be essential. And as I said before, the goal is to ensure that you can still provide the goods and services to your customers and your employees can continue to work.
And one of the benefits, I think, of so many people being online at the same time is for the marketing side of the business. And that touches a little on where I work in digital, because it has provided this wonderful opportunity for us to start connecting with customers in a meaningful way online, because they are there, they have all this time, and they are online doing many different things. It now gives us multiple opportunities to try to reach them in the digital space. And this information is something that bloggers and vloggers and other people in social media can definitely benefit from. From my perspective, some of the things that I have seen that have emerged during this pandemic, and I think businesses will definitely be adopting them going forward, is the increased use of live video for engagement and brand building. Companies that were never doing online activities using video specifically, such as webinars or meetings or classes, more companies are doing that, because in the absence of that physical touch and the opportunity to experience the interface with the customers in a physical location, they're now able to simulate that experience with these online engagements. And you find that the companies that are benefiting the most from this are the ones that are actually giving persons a real experience that they can connect with the company as they would have in the physical world. And I think it's good also because persons will be able to remember the companies that showed up during this very troubling time. Another thing as well is you find that collaborations are happening. So companies and individuals are collaborating with different entities and brands. So persons who before were probably too busy, they no longer have that excuse. They now have an opportunity to collaborate. So you find companies pairing with other companies and doing things that before seemed impossible. But now there is space, and this is all possible because of what social allows them to do. And I think because the public is so connected, it really gives brands an opportunity to look for gaps. So if there's a gap in your customer service, or if there's a gap in your service delivery, what digital is helping to do is reveal what you can do in the meantime. So companies that never ever thought of curbside services and pickup and stuff like that are now adopting it and using social media to do it. I can distinctly recall one experience I had with a company that uses WhatsApp to enhance their curbside pickup. And they set a bot in the WhatsApp, and you talk to that bot until you have made a final decision, and then you are connected to someone who takes you to the end of the process. Those are innovations that prior to COVID, we were not seeing a lot of companies doing. But because of the need to survive, you find that they are using the social media technologies in a way that it's not just, oh, we're putting stuff up for people to engage, but no, it's really a business imperative to drive customers and get their involvement into the process. So I think we're seeing where digital, the use of social media, and digital aspects of business is growing in a meaningful way and to the benefit of customers. So I think a lot of people should be happy about that.
Agreed. And I mean, you touch on a number of things there, collaboration. You would have touched on innovation as a result of COVID. So there are numerous opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm. But Freddie, what's going on from the banking side? How do you see this moving that even further along from where it has been so far?
Well, where I think it, what I think it, the whole scenario that we're in now does is really reveal what will be. So not in the sense that we'll have socially distant banking halls forever and ever, but rather that we'll be less dependent on the sort of traditional forms of commerce that we have been in the past. So, for example, if you think how reliant we have been in the past and continue to be on cash, on physical cash, on checks, these are physical means of commerce. And I think we're going to be dependent less and less on them in the future. And you kind of see that in how our current services are being adopted and depended on now. So we've seen an uptick in the use of JN Live, our online banking platform, where you can do a host of services. And it sort of being pushed towards this kind of platform makes you realize how much value you can get out of it. So, you can do your very standard transactions, such as paying people, paying your bills, paying your credit card, paying your mortgages and stuff like that. And we feel as though in times like this is when a platform like that really sort of gets the exposure that we think it deserves. Um, but beyond that as well, we see our customers using and depending on some of the other innovations that we brought in, which existed before, and some of which have come in just at the right time. So you can think about our smart ATMs that we're really proud about. So at your smart ATMs, you can deposit without a card. Obviously, do your withdrawals. We are working on in the future, the very near future, for people to be able to make credit card payments on our smart ATMs. And you can also, if you're a member of JN Small Business Loans, you can make your payments for those ATMs as well. So people are really starting to sort of see the full value of innovations like that. And I alluded to it earlier, there are some innovations which have seemed to arrive just at the right time. So, for example, we've introduced a digital queuing system, which essentially allows us to uh, place customers in an appropriate queue, which is determined by the business that they want to transact. And as a result, we're able to much better manage those people as they come into the banking hall. They're able to perform their business and their transactions much more quickly. And as I say, the timing of it has been perfect because we're able to really strictly monitor how many people are in the banking hall at one time. But yeah, in essence, what I think COVID-19 has really emphasized is that there are innovations that have been around us and have been used for quite a long time, but it's just now that they're getting the exposure and the services that they offer are being pronounced right now. So yeah, I think that's what it's pushing towards, what will eventually be.
And I just have a quick question for both of you, because all of us have seen the changes and they've been very quick. It's been over probably 3 months where I've seen these dramatic changes. Do you think that this is going to be the jump off point where more of our people and businesses move to adopt in a more serious way digital technology and create that revolution to help Jamaica to move into the 21st century?
Yes, for sure. And not just Jamaica, just worldwide. Sometimes you just need to get a taste of something, and it ends up being the norm essentially. And after starting paying online, for example, or having the curbside pickup, who wants to really go back into a store to pick up something. Convenience. I mean, digitalization has been a buzzword for a while now. And I think what COVID has done is enforce that or force that to happen even faster. I think it will be the way forward, even with us working remotely. For most companies, yes, we're going back out into the workplace, but right now you have a number of customers tightening this remote work policy where maybe you'll have a lot of rotation. So you still need a lot of these tools and services that we had to go to because of COVID. We will be holding on to them. And as you said, both of you said, it opened a lot of innovative ideas. So the opportunities are endless as a result of this pandemic. Well,
Yeah,
prior to the pandemic, but it has enforced it to come on stream even faster.
yeah, and I would just reiterate what Tamika has basically said there. So I think, I mean, it's ubiquitous, digital innovation, as Tamika said, around the world. So if you think to, I suppose, the areas of the corners of the globe which have really adopted these digital innovations, you can think of South Korea and Australia, where they're actively trying to move towards a cashless society, and where, again, as Tamika said, remote working is the norm. And these innovations and the value they had were always there to be seen. But in a time like this, it seems as though we've connected the dots. So we see that, overhead costs can be lessened through remote work being increased. We can see that the number of transactions that we perform and execute can also be increased in greater volumes if we do it digitally rather than depending on physical cash. So yeah, I mean, as Tamik says, so the digital transformation, innovation, whatever title we give it, it's ubiquitous and it's here to stay. But it's interesting that COVID has kind of shifted our perspective to make us really connect the dots and see the value where it is, or rather force the value upon us. So now that we're thinking in that innovative way and we want to bring the changes on ourselves.
Correct. And also on the point of the opportunities and growth for us, there's a lot more that we can do here in Jamaica. The opportunities are great. We had issues during the pandemic. We would have seen remittances, the long lines to collect remittances. That's an opportunity for us. So the key economies that we are reliant on, we need to look at the opportunities from a point of view of the digitalization of these to gain from it as a country. We also mentioned online. Everybody's going to school online. The kids are going to school online. The university is online. Now, with this platform, you have a greater reach. You can reach a lot more persons. And with the opportunities, you need the skills, right? And here we have a platform that can allow us to share the knowledge and allow people to upskill remotely.
Yeah.
So the opportunities and what the growth from the opportunities are endless as a result of this.
Yeah, and we're certainly in a position. To adopt, or rather exploit those opportunities. So I guess if you have an image of Jamaica as somewhat lagging behind, I'd say you're only half right. I mean, we have a rising internet penetration, and I think we have smartphone penetration amongst a population of approximately 111%. So it kind of speaks to the fact that we have the infrastructure here in some ways, and we certainly have the will. Like, people aren't technophobes. Yeah, the population is ready, and I think businesses are ready to capitalize on that now as well.
Indeed. Well, thank you guys for having this conversation. I think we've been able to just kind of unearth a lot of the surface issues that are helping to drive this digital revolution, and also pinpoint some of the ways that even in our areas as well as other areas, persons can seek to benefit from the changes that are coming for the future. I would just like to tell our audience that we have come to the end of this evening's discussion. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to be back with you next week on Thursday, June 18, when we will be discussing another interesting topic.